Hello, everyone. This is Linda Sterling, and this is part of my author camp, but I actually extended the invitation to a lot of additional people because I knew everyone would be really excited to listen to our guest speaker today, Erin Loman Jeck. So Erin has just incredible credentials for talking with us about how to get a TEDx talk. I'm sure she's going to share a little bit more about, excuse me, lost my voice there for a second, about her experience with getting people on the TEDx stages. So the other thing I want to say is I had previously not met Erin, and I'm so grateful that she showed up today. But the reason that I wanted her to be the person who's speaking with us is she came so highly recommended by Jackie Lappin, somebody that I just trust implicitly. And Jackie said, Erin's the best. So I wanted to bring the best to you. So what I'm going to do, Erin, is I'm just going to watch the chat in case people have questions. So you won't have to think about that. And then do you want me to have people ask questions as you go along, or would you like to save the questions to the end?
Let's save them to the end because I know there's going to be a lot of nuts and bolts, but I might be able to, if I keep going through it, I want to make sure I get through all the content so you know exactly what to do, what you need in order to apply, so it will really help you and benefit you the most. Write down those questions and we'll take them at the end.
Okay, I'll keep track of those. It's all yours.
I love it. Well, I'm super excited to be here. I am so honored to be in this place and in this time. I mean, I think the world is crying out for more leaders to be on this stage, on the TEDx stage, than ever before. And post-COVID, there's been so many opportunities that I think is really helping the industry altogether. You know, I think there was such strong and strict rules before, and they've kind of opened it up. And I've seen everything from now you can do a TED Talk from home, because some people were doing that during COVID, and some were renting a big theater and then having the speakers come on one at a time, leave the stage, come back in, and like do it one at a time, but really record on a single stage, which I also thought was really great. So the innovation that's happening in this space now, post-COVID, is actually the perfect time. And a lot of people aren't still applying to speak because they're like, well, I don't know what's going on with the world. And so let me tell you, if you really want to land a TED Talk in the next 6 to 9 months, it is the best window you've ever experienced, because there's so many coming back online, being back in the world, and excited to take in new speakers just like you who have a message worth spreading. So I'm really excited. You know, I'm the CEO of Transformational Speakers Agency. I help 6- and 7-figure speakers. They hire me to help them learn how to close 30% of the room or more when speaking, because most don't know how to sell their products or programs or books from stage. And so I really teach them how to do that in a way that's not salesy or sleazy or feels like, hey, and if you buy 2 now, like I call that the ShamWow. It really is a conversation, and I teach you based on my background in psychology. A straight line to where I am today was not a straight line. I literally wanted to be a dolphin trainer. And as I said earlier, that's why I lived in the Florida Keys. And I was able to do that, even coming from a small little town in Idaho as well. No oceans, but I actually took that risk and went down to the Florida Keys. And after I got in there, I was like, it only makes $8.50 an hour. It's a little hard to live in Florida Keys at $8.50 an hour. So I was like, what else can I do? And when I was there in training, they're like, you don't need a marine biology degree. You either need a psych degree or a teaching degree. And I got excited about that because I love to think about what motivates people, what challenges people, what people think, how they think. All of those things really intrigued me. And it was kind of the girl that everyone told their whole life story to. You can't take me to a restaurant and not have the waitress tell us her whole life story. Everyone's always like, why does everyone want to talk to you? It's a part of who I am. And so it really kind of fit in with everything I was doing. And then in my master's program for marriage and family therapy, I kept seeing the same people come in and complain and not change. And that was frustrating to me. A, because I'm so results driven, and B, I'm an empath. So think about sitting in a room with people that dump out the deepest, darkest stuff. I was taking that on every single day. At the time, I did not know how to handle that energy. And I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And so I hung my shingle as a coach and has been a business coach for many, many years. And then everyone kept seeing me speak everywhere and said, how do you do what you do? You're so amazing at it. And I went, I really don't know. So I went and hired Brenda Burchard, Roger Love, Bo Eason, the biggest names in the industry, and really learned more about this craft. And there was a lot of things that I did naturally, but there was a lot of things that you have to learn. And there's a lot of subtle nuances that most people don't know. And that's what keeps people away from buying your services, products, programs from stage, is really some of those small things that you might not have any idea you're doing. So I really want to go through what is the difference between TED and TEDx. So TED is overarching. It is the big name, and they had just 1 or 2 events a year, and it was global. And what they realized is that they had so many people wanting to come to these events that they said, well, why don't we make these more of a local thing? And they started selling licenses. So an organizer can buy a license. They have to go through a lot of things to be able to get this license. And really, truly, the reason I'm sharing this is so you understand the background, so you understand who you're pitching and how to pitch. So they start with a small little audience of 50 people, because if they mess up this event, it only affected 50 people in the room and the TEDx brand is not ruined. And as you get better and better, as your speakers get better and better, as your speakers get to go onto the TEDx on the TED.com so people can search them and find them and get more and more views, they get bigger and bigger licenses so they can open up their audience bigger and bigger. But the secret is, you don't get on the TEDx stage for just the audience. If you speak in front of 50 or you speak in front of 2,500, it doesn't really matter, because the beautiful thing about this is it's a global platform. Your message gets to be on a global platform. And so the reach that it has is absolutely phenomenal. And I know a lot of you are probably going, that's what I want. I have a book. I have a message we're sharing. I need to get on that stage. And so I really want to walk through, more of how you do that. And so if you understand, the other thing I said before everyone got on was, right before all of this, I dreamed of speaking on the TED stage. I didn't know what my talk would be. I didn't really quite understand it, but my girlfriend got accepted onto the TEDx Bellevue College stage. And she's like, do you have a speaking coach? And they're like, no, we don't. And they're like, oh, we need Erin. So I helped the very first time 13 speakers. I had 2 months. So I literally blocked out everything to help these 13 speakers go from idea to ovation in those 2 months and really nail it on that stage. And I really loved it, because the things I get to work with, like harvesting solar power from the moon, eradicating sex trafficking, eradicating single-use plastics using bioplastics. The list is endless of this fun place that I get to play. And after I did Bellevue, I went to the TEDx Seattle, which is one of the largest. It has 2,500 people in the audience, one of the biggest ones in the United States. And I really got to see it from the other side. I got on the screening committee. So I was taking in 200 to 600 applications every single time we had open calls. And a lot of those, like 200 in the last 24 hours. That's a lot to go through. And the thing that you don't realize is that it was me. Yes, I'm in the speaking industry, so that makes sense. The other 2 screeners were electrical engineer and a structural engineer. These are people who volunteer their time to do this work, because no one in the TEDx space gets paid. Now I've kind of bucked that system, because I get paid to be the speaking coach. I figured out, because I'm an event producer, I know how to go offer sponsors and how to do that. And so I have been paid, but most people on the organizing team aren't paid. So they're just people who are like you and me, who are interested in this stuff, but don't really have a background. And so knowing that kind of opens up what people are going to expect, because in the normal speaking industry, it's usually an event host, an event producer, an organizer, and they have specific things, maybe specific themes they want to take people through on this journey on this stage. But with this, it's a little more open. So knowing who you're speaking to first is the most important thing, because if you apply and you're not engaging all of the different people, I mean, a speaking coach, a structural engineer, and a mechanical engineer, that's a mixed bag, right? And so you really need to understand how to apply. But what I want to first do is I want to show you where to look, because a lot of people don't know. And Jackie does have a huge list. I am one of her amazing affiliates as well. I love Jackie. She's hired me to help her sell in a lot of rooms before. And so with that, there's lists out there. Jackie's is one of the best. I love that she has all the places to go. But I really want to show you, if you're just starting from scratch, and I want to show you where to go. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you exactly where to go. So if you go to TED.com, and you're going to want to go over to attend, discover, and watch. Here's where you're going to find it. Watch, or wait, no, participate. No, wait, where is it? Attend. Here we go. Now I remember it. Attend. And you want to go to this TEDx events. And you're going to click on this. Now, here is a huge list. Now, here's what you got to think. This is a local opportunity for local speakers. So you want to think within a 5 mile or 5 hour radius of where you are, because most places won't accept people that are from across the country. Now, there are tons of exceptions. I work with TEDx Woodstock, Georgia, and they open it up. They have people from all over attending and speaking. And so there's some differences in there, because they do have that within the licensing, but they really want you to find someone local. And because you have to be connected to the community. So if maybe you're living in Idaho, like I am right now, I could go all the way to Seattle, which is 5 hours away. I could go down 5 hours or over to Montana. So that would be my radius, or up to Canada. And so when I lived in Seattle, we really spanned it from Vancouver, BC down to Portland, Oregon, because that was within a 3 hour radius, and they would accept people in all of those areas. The reason is they want you to have a connection to the community, to understand the community, to know where and what is happening in the community, because a lot of times they want the local ideas. Like I always say, if you want to land it in Seattle, talk about the homelessness population right now and the problem that we've had for many years. You will get on that stage. If you make it even more relatable till now, adding in something about post-COVID or what we experienced, or the common bond that we all share in this world, you also have a better opportunity of landing the stages. So finding other places, like for me, I probably could go to the Florida Keys. I said I lived in the Key West. I lived in Marathon. I lived in Fort Lauderdale. I could actually apply in those areas because I know the demographics. I know what's going on in the community, and that's what they really want. So think about that in demographic wise, where you are. So let's just say, I'm just going to put in, actually, I'll put in Seattle because that might be easier. Let's put in Seattle. And then you just click on it. Now, here's the thing. It will start to show you anything around Seattle, and it doesn't show me anything coming up. So I'm going to click that one off. But maybe if I do California, because I know there's some there, because we just did some search for some of our clients. So you'll get to see the dots showing up wherever you are, right? Now, here's another secret. If there's something that's not on here, now here's the awesome thing. They really book out 3, 6, and 9 months ahead of time. If they're the biggest ones like TEDx Seattle, they'll actually ask for applications 9 months out. So thinking about that, you got to think ahead. So if you look here and you want to go down to like maybe November, December, and actually think about applying, you can literally go here. Now, here is the hard part. They don't make this easy for you. So if I click on TEDx La Jolla, it will pull up. Okay, here are the organizers. Great. This is awesome. If you get to know these people, if you can go and search them, this is another great opportunity. But I don't see any website. I don't see where I can apply. I don't see anything here. Sometimes there'll be a link here or over here for their website. But if not, here's what you do. Here's a secret. You copy it and you search for it, because that's where most of them have to set up a website. And let's click on it. So if you click on the one that says TED.com, you'll go back to the website we just were on. But here you can find more opportunities. You can see what's there. You can see they don't have, and it says TBD. Who knows? It did say November, so I know that that's there. You can look here and see if there's an opportunity to apply, watch the other talks. You can find things out. A lot of times what I like to do is if they have a button somewhere to subscribe to their newsletter, find out, like right here, updates, become a sponsor, apply to speak. Here's the first one. We can just click on it, and here's what you're going to find. These are all Google Forms, Google Docs. And so you want to know what these questions are. And what I will tell you is most of them have similar questions. So I created an application transfer sheet that you literally can put in all of your information, and you pull up a page like this, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Now, if in here you do see that they have a specific theme, they have a specific idea of what they're going to be doing, you want to relate it to that. But these are the ways that you apply. Now, if you do get Jackie's list, you get a direct links like this. It just goes straight to the application. But I also like to find out more about who's running it, what's happening. I like to do some research, because if you do just send a blanket application out, it doesn't mean you're going to get anything. But what if you fill out an application, you connect with the organizer on LinkedIn, find out more, see if there's opportunities, people you know, connections you know, that could even do a direct connection to you. That's going to help you. The other thing is, if it's beautiful, if you have something like, say, this La Jolla one was happening next week, and you wanted to learn about the next one they're having, show up, attend the event, meet the organizers, ask what they're looking for, ask when they have applications open. Some have applications open all year long. Some have like a week long. That's it. In Seattle, we would only give people a week, because you heard we had up to 600 applications every single time. That's a lot. So think about that when you're doing this. Think about what is it these volunteers are putting together so that they can have the best event that they have. So here's where you search and where to apply. Now, like I said, you have to know the questions they ask. There are multiple things they're going to ask from you. Most of them will want you to know what your idea worth spreading is. So I'll take off of this. They're going to need to know 2 to 3 sentences. What is your idea? Why you? Now, this is important. This isn't Erin Loman Jeck is the CEO of Transformational Speakers Agency. If we're speakers, they normally don't want us. So we have to take all the other things we have. She's a best-selling author. She's had her own radio show. She's an award-winning entrepreneur. Those kinds of things are more important, because a lot of times in the TEDx world, there's a lot of people like, oh, these speakers, they just think they want on the stage, but we really want people who want to share a message. Well, that's normally what speakers do, but there's a preconceived notion about what speakers are, and they think that they're hot to trot and they just get to be on the stage, and they really want to help people that might not ever want to speak on any other stage. They love, like my first one with TEDx Bellevue, they were all professors. And my favorite thing was like, oh, I'm good at speaking, I don't need your help. And I giggled and I said, okay, do you have a waiting list to get into your class? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, there's probably some things off in your delivery if you don't have a wait list for your class. But the best parts were they were taking some of their papers and their research that they've done and some of the topics that they teach in their classes and got on the stage, and they were amazing opportunities. And so they love to give the opportunity to people that might not just be speaking on every stage. So really thinking about that. Don't make your why me so much about you. You know, she's been, in the last 2 years, she's lost 2 of her family members to COVID. She's done this. She really pivoted. Whatever that is, make it sound like third person. Make it sound like you are this amazing person, have all these amazing experience. And this one topic you're so excited about. You're so excited to share on this stage. And that's going to make them be more interested in you. So really work on that bio, why you, and then why now. Make it relatable, like I said, relevant to now. Because if you're talking about something in, I don't know, if it's, say you're talking on the 1920s or something, but if you don't make it relative to now and relevant, people are not, they're like, why would people come and listen to this? You want to have a thumb-stopping title. And I know since you teach writing, Belinda, I know that you come up with those kinds of things all the time. But if you think about searching TED, the TED.com, you see all these little squares with everybody's little videos and their title. Now, here's what I will give you the secret squirrel for. This is where you want to make it almost like challenge people. Like, ooh, I need to know more about this. Because if it's like how to saw wood, most people are not going to click on that, right? One of my clients right now, she does perinatal mood disorders and helps with postpartum depression. And what we titled hers was The Silent Baby Killer. Now, that's a little in your face, but at the same time, you're going to go, ooh, what is this? What is she talking about? And if below it says, expert in perinatal mood disorders, and they're like, oh, now I get it. Now they want to watch, right? But you might intrigue people that might not be interested normally just because of the title. One of my other clients I was almost a high school shooter. That was amazing because he really talked about what stopped him from doing it. And it was brilliant. But I remember seeing that stuff and I was like, oh, I would watch that. I want to know more. The other one we did was how to get out of debt by spending money. Doesn't make sense, does it? But that makes you go, ooh, that's interesting. What does that mean? It's a dichotomy. I don't understand. I want to know more. So thinking about that inside of this application transfer sheet. Now, the other thing is a lot of them are going to ask you for a 90-second to 2-minute video. And they really want you to not go, hi, my name is Erin Loman Jeck, and my topic is to talk about feelings and thinking. It's not what they want. They want to see how you're going to be on stage. Hi, I'm Erin Loman Jeck, and this is my TED Talk. People are going to be like, nobody wants to sit and listen to that. So make it engaging, make it fun. Don't read off your script. You really want to say why this topic, why for the community, and why for you. So when you think about that video, why you, why now, and why for the community. Big things to think about in that 2-minute video. Now, the other thing is most will want a script. Now, I'm going to burst some bubbles because you might not like this, but everyone thinks you get 18 minutes. I will tell you probably get 10 to 12. So what you want to do is write a speech, like write your thing out about 1,500 to 2,000 words at the most. And because then they can edit down if they want to, but they can kind of see what your idea really is. They want to see the full picture of what you want to do on that stage. And even if it's a rough draft, even if they help you go in and edit and do these things to it, they still want to know the whole meat and potatoes of what you're doing on that stage. So it's really important to put that in there as well. And so that's why you can't just, I want to be on a TED Talk. I got to go and just start applying. You need to put some things in order to save yourself some time, effort, and headache. So that's why the application transfer sheet, knowing, doing some research on maybe some of the local ones you can do. And even on that sheet, that page that I showed you, it says upcoming. But what I was going to tell you is if you say someone was the next week and you're like, oh man, well, they usually do it once a year. Some do it more. But if you go to past, there's a tab that says past on that TED.com. And you will see the other dates that they've had, because they usually set it every April or every May. And so if you know that, you go, okay, October, they're probably opening up applications. So you start looking in October. So I also have a spreadsheet that helps you do your research, helps you go in and say when the dates are and who you need to contact. If you have the application that you filled out, or if you have the link to it, you want to track it, because you want to start to see if things are coming back in or not. A lot of times you won't get an answer back if you didn't get chosen. And that's kind of annoying for all of us speakers. Like, well, I never heard back, but it's because they have so many. And so some organizers really do a really strong reach out to the people who did make it and some don't. So just knowing that is really helpful. But having your application transfer sheet, having an Excel spreadsheet to help you keep up and know exactly what's happening and know when their next applications open up, who to contact, all of those things, keeping track of that is super important in your application process. But really, truly, you got to have the great speech, the great title, the great speech. And that's important. And so that's what I help people do. The thing that most people don't realize when they're like, okay, I have this talk, I have to write this talk, I have to struggle so much on just the words, the writing of it. But let me tell you, 50% of what your audience is taking in on that stage is nonverbal communication. It's your eyebrows, it's your facial expressions, it's your hand gestures, it's how you carry yourself on that stage. 50% of what the audience is feeling comes from your body language. That's why it's important to master this craft. Second, 35% is your vocal tonality. So you've heard me go up in my tone and then go down in my tone. You've heard me get a little quieter and a little louder. All of these things, pitch, pace, tone, volume, are all important because if you create a melody with your voice, and now you can hear it as I've been saying it, if you create a melody with your voice, you actually unlock the episodic part of someone's memory and you become memorable. It's not about the words. The words are 7%. It's not a lot. And the third thing is 13% is your storytelling, being really good at storytelling. And I know if you're writing books, you have some good storytelling tips, Linda, I'm sure, because it's really engaging in the stories. People, we watch movies, we write books because of the stories, not the content. And so if you really practice all of those things inside your script, and in your 2-minute video, using your nonverbal communication, using your tonality, engaging the camera, because there's no one I'm looking at right now but a camera way up above, because you're down here, way up above. And so you got to get good at that. And so if you're talking to a room full of 1,000 people, they want to see how you're going to be on their stage. So these are the most important things to really nail before you start applying. Because if this is your one opportunity, you don't want to mess it up. It is out there for life. If you did a crappy job and it still somehow gets posted on the TED.com platform, it is out there forever. So you really want to make sure you do it well. And the other thing is, especially for authors, I have some secrets on how to sell without selling, because you can't really say, well, in my book, and you have your book up there, because that's promotional. But I am so secret squirrel about how I slip these things in, how we have things on your slides that get people to know what your book is. You can say, yeah, and in my book, I talked about blah, 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 blah. Well, they're going to look at your name if they're watching it online and go, oh, Linda Sterling, author, and they're going to find your book. And that is a really good opportunity for you to be seen in that way. And it builds more of that expertise. And anywhere you go on any stage, to just say you're a TEDx speaker is amazing. It's opened doors in corporate for me that I never thought I would get accepted to. I've worked with Microsoft, Boeing, Expedia, Google, Amazon, and it's because I'm a TEDx speaking coach. They love that. It's such a credibility builder. So if you can add that to your bio, author, TEDx speaker, it's going to set you apart from everyone else. So that's why TEDx is so pivotal, on top of the global access that people have to your talk forever. It really does help you become that expert. So that's the teaching piece. Now I want to do something, because I really want you to get really attached to this, and it might not be what you think it is. So what I want you to do is just take a minute and close your eyes. Take some deep breaths, feel your chair underneath your bottom, fully supported. And I want you to imagine something, because when you think about what you want to talk about on the stage, this is going to help you get real clear. I want you to imagine that I'm taking your arm and I'm walking you onto a stage. There's 1 million people in the audience, all excited to hear you. And as you walk up on that stage, I tell you, you have 1 hour, which is a lot longer than TEDx. You have 1 hour to speak to 1 million people. But as soon as it's done, you no longer exist on this planet. This is your love letter. This is your legacy talk. This is what you want the world to know before you cannot tell them anymore. So whatever comes up for you as you stand on that stage, that's the TED Talk you should do. That's the message that the world needs to hear. And if it relates to your book or not, don't get hung up there. Know that as you speak that message and you talk about your book, they're going to find both. But don't get trapped thinking it has to look a certain way. Oh, I have a book in front of me. So I'm writing my parenting book right now, but let's say the conscious parent. If I was on stage speaking like about TEDx right now, and you knew I wrote a parenting book, you'd be like, ooh, I have kids. She's amazing. I want to know more. It is what the leverage of the TED Talk does for you. And that's what it does. So if you have a message that might not link exactly to your book, it is okay. You just open up 2 markets for yourself instead of 1. So I'm open. Let's talk. Let's ask questions. I'm sure there's some. Linda, I haven't looked at the chat. I've just been speaking.
We've got a good one. And first of all, I'm blown away. And when I closed my eyes, my TED Talk topic was right there. Not what I thought it would be, but I already love it. So I hope everyone else had the same experience. So Brad says, one of the application questions was, have you done a TED Talk before? Is it easier to get the second TED Talk, or is that a barrier to entry?
It depends on the organizer. Some are like, yeah, I mean, I know a friend of mine has 5 TED Talks, right? It does seem to get easier for him. And I was like, oh yeah, I have, go check it out. Cause they're like, they can watch a video of you already on that stage. So that becomes easy. So if, like Linda, you said your topic wasn't what you thought, now you have 2 TED Talks, right? You're like, okay, let me pitch that one. And then I can come and do this other one. And so it's not the biggest deal on that. It's not a make or break if I saw it when I was in the screening committee, I would just go watch their TED Talk and see how amazing and engaging they were. And if they were boring, I might just put them to the no pile, right? And so, or if I can find that they're not coachable, because here was my thing for me when I searched, I would look at, okay, were they engaging on their video? Does it seem like they know what they're talking about? Do they seem excited about it? Because we don't want Bueller, right, on the stage. And so you want to look at all of those things. I did. And so if I found other videos of you, if you say you're a speaker, I'd go look at other things and it would weigh in for me, and so it can be a barrier if you really aren't good at on stage. But the other reason they also want you to ask that, and there's another question they ask is, has anyone else done your talk? Now, here's the important thing. If you wanted to do a talk on vulnerability, it better either reference Brene Brown or go opposite of Brene Brown and say, Brene Brown's wrong in vulnerability, because it's already been done. That lane has been set with 9 million, I don't know how many views now, 20 million views. So they want you to go and do research on your own topic to make sure that no one's already done your exact thing, right? This is my purple phone. I'm going to talk about my purple phone. Well, purple phone's been talked about. Well, not if I say purple phones are the new, I don't know, microwave. They're like, oh, that's different. So doing research on that also will help you so that you're not, being negated out because someone's already done it. So do your research on that too.
So I've got a question. And
yeah.
While I'm asking this question, I'd love it if everybody who's here would type into the chat what they envision their TED Talk being about. That would be fascinating to me.
I would love it.
So my question, Erin, is it helpful for these authors to already have some video on their website where maybe they've been on a podcast or some other kind of presentation, or even could they maybe just create a recording where they were reading something if they haven't been on a podcast? What's your thinking on that?
I think it's important to have video. Video sells everything, guys. Like if you're not doing video, you need to be, because it really is how people want to connect. Like, reading something, seeing something, having something is one thing, but like literally I'm talking to you. I'm looking into your soul, even though I'm looking to a camera, and I'm connecting with you. And so you want to have that so that they see that you're not the Bueller person. I don't care what you're talking about, as long as we can see you're engaging, because it is a monologue. You're on a stage and it's a one-person show for that 18 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever. But If you can do that to a camera, they know you can do it to an audience. So it's important for you to have video. If you have not done a talk yet, here is a secret on how to get video for that. I mean, you could do something virtual. You could do it in a Zoom and record it like a webinar. The second thing you could do is go to the library, get the room, get like 12 of your friends and family, say, I'm doing a video. I need to get, I need butts and seats, or I say souls and seats. And then we're going to record it. And then you want to take your best, like 5 to 8 minutes and nail that and do that really well, because then you can use that as a video reel. And it's really important because a lot of people take here's a talk I did. It's a 25-minute talk. No one's going to listen that long. And an organizer is probably going to watch for 2 minutes. So make sure it's your best stuff. So I don't care if it's like, okay, so I'm starting in the middle of nowhere. This is the most important part, right? And you just start there. It is so essential for them to feel how you will be on that stage and express on their stage. So really doing that well, but that's the easiest way. People say all the time, oh, I need to pay all this money. I've paid $5,000 for my speaker reel. I've done all these things. But what I'll say is the easiest way to do it is just put people in a room and do your best stuff, because no one's going to watch that whole talk. They only want the nitty gritty. And if you're really good, have your friends and family do testimonials for you. And then you just put that at the video, have somebody edit it on Fiverr, and now you have what you need. So don't overthink it, but you should everywhere on your website, if you're an author, because if people want you to come and do a reading of your book or an excerpt of your book, they're going to want to see video of you doing that. So why not do it?
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I love seeing some of the ideas coming in here. I'm going to share those with you, Erin, and maybe on some of them you can explain why maybe they need to distill down. So I've got gift giving and receiving, communication, depression, anxiety, and suicide, bust through your self-limits and find your superpower, something about how the world dynamics, the chaos, etc., can affect you and what to do, the challenge of raising a child with disabilities, how to stop managing your emotion and shift to process emotions and shift to process them. Let's see, stress, anxiety, and burnout relief is really as close as your fingertips. I think this is one that Brad already did. The traditional psychotherapy is wrong, and here's what to do instead.
I like that one because, like I said, I went to school to be a therapist, and I have many more techniques than that now.
A docent for a Victorian farmhouse, how changing the way you communicate can changing your life in 1 week.
Love that.
Flip your script from retired to re-inspired.
Ooh,
okay, we had a bunch. Thank you, everybody, for playing along, first of all. And we had a bunch of good ones. What are some of your overall thoughts?
Yeah, the biggest thing is one thing. That's it. Like, I know someone said stress, anxiety, burnout. That's too many. It's one thing. And that's the thing that captures the eye, because it's what is your one message we're sharing, right? We're spreading. So when I talk about what's in the talk, we really come up with the data, because TEDx loves data. So data based on one thing. What's the one thing that's going to change? They're going to walk out knowing, thinking, seeing, or feeling different. What is their perspective that shifts? What is it that you're challenging? What paradigm are you challenging? The one, not a lot, the one. And you can say inside your talk, yes, can this help? Because right now in the world, I say let's stress, anxiety, and burnout. More than ever, it's anxiety right now, post-COVID. So I'd land anxiety, but throw those other ones in there, when you're talking. But come up with the one thing. And that's the most important, because so many people have too many things. And that's when TEDx goes, I don't want to have to sort through all of this. What is the one thing that will be different? And it's really important to nail that down. I like flip your script from retired to re-inspired. That's awesome. And even like because I'm reading just the ones on the left, how changing the way you communicate will change your life in 1 week. That sounds awesome, but I want you to really think, if I'm searching on communication, what am I searching for? What's the problem you are solving? What is the one thing that's the problem you're solving, and make that your topic. Make that the one thing that you do really, really well.
And here is an additional one, remaining relevant as a senior citizen.
Ooh. And what I would find is if there's another word for senior citizen that has an R in it, remaining relevant after retirement. I mean, there's something, because then that kind of goes together. I like that. So I think playing with that, like I said, find something that might be shocking that people will go, ooh, what is this about? I got to know more, because you're capturing them. If they're not in the room, right? If you spoke to 50 and you want to get to 1 million views, there's a strategy in that. And I actually teach that in our group coaching program. But the thing is if you can make people really stop in all of those little picture boxes and go, ooh, what's that about? That's what you really want to do. So thinking about it as if you had 5 seconds, because your topic has to read within 5 to 7 seconds, that goes, oh, what is this about? And they want to know more.
Nice. Well, if you were laying out people's first steps, what would you say those should look like? And then I want to know in more depth how you help people.
Yeah. So my thing would be, first, do research on your topic, see if it's out there, see if it's been done. Then the second thing is do the research and see in that TED.com and really see where some opportunities for you to apply. That would be your first 2 steps, and just kind of getting a feel for that. The third is really writing a talk that's really compelling in 1,500 words. That's not a lot, 15 to 2,000 words. That's like an article in a news. I write for magazines. I've been published in a lot of them, and it's got to be under 2,000 words. So how do you do that and really get the audience to deeply connect with you and be challenged to change their belief system or the way that they see things? And so those would be the 3 things I'd say first. And then when people work with me, right now, I'm going to launch a group coaching program in October. We do this twice. I've done it one other time this year, twice a year, but it's 12 weeks together as a group. And we go through application. And each week there's one thing you're working on your application transfer sheet, on your video, and I'm giving you feedback. And the beautiful thing is we have a whole tribe of people who've gone through this program, who have been my independent clients or the group coaching clients, and they really are all supporting one another. Oh, I like that title better. You can put polls in there and ask people what they like better. You can ask people to review your script and see if there's things that they like or dislike, or if there's things they could give you some really good advice. If you say it like that, I have a client right now, she's a senator in Washington State. And she was a little controversial. She's Indian descent, and she wrote Mediocrity is Killing America. And then she wrote inside of her talk, White Men Are Killing America. And I was like, okay, girl, I love you. And there's going to be people that check out because you just slapped them in the face and walked away. And I said, it's okay to challenge people, but at the same time, you got to use inviting language for all, or you're going to get people going like this. All right, whatever, I'm on to the next thing, right? They're not going to listen, and you could lose people. So it's really important to think about when you're doing that. And so the group is really great at that. And each step, we're coming on, we're okay, Linda, tell me about your script this time. And I'm going through it and helping you. Then I teach you how to write it in tonality. After your script is done, then we write it in tonality to prepare you to start practicing it. So for these 12 weeks, we're literally doing all of the work while you're applying, and we're writing your talk, and we're practicing it. I'll have you submit videos where you're speaking out your talk. And I'm like, oh, you do this weird thing with your hands, or, hey, I would change, I would take this part and put it over here now that I've heard you say it out loud. All of that is really important. And I think that that's the place that's been missing a lot, especially in the TEDx industry, is that there are a lot of speaking coaches that they get as volunteers, and maybe they delivered a TED Talk and they're like, oh, I'm now the expert in TED Talks. And they don't know what they're actually doing. And I'm going to be really transparent about that, because it is an organization that most of the time will not pay for speaker coaches. That's why a lot of people come after they go and they start going through and they're like, my speaker coach is not good at this. And I really need to hire you. So they hire me on the side to be able to do this work. But it's really important to have someone that knows not only how to write it, how to engage people, well, I always say I help the audience get high on their supply of neurochemicals. I help them release their oxytocin and the dopamine hit. And they're on a roller coaster with you and hanging on to the edge of their seat. That is what a great talk does. So we do that. So then as we keep going, we keep practicing this, you're going to learn it in tonality that helps you. I had a client, literally paraplegic. He could stand for about 5 minutes, I think. So he walked out on stage, sat in a chair, but he can usually just use his hands and his head. Like this was about it. He was like partial quadriplegic or something. And his was about how his accident, what happened. He was able to get a standing ovation based on his tonality and his physicality and his storytelling. Not because he stood up there and acted it out or any of that. It was all the other subtle nuances that most people don't master that got him that standing ovation. He was the only one to get a standing ovation that day. And it was epic. And so those things are really important. And if you already do speak, I would challenge you to say, how many people are signing up in the back of the room for your stuff? And if they're not, there's something in the delivery part, the tonality, the physicality, the storytelling, or even in the sales piece, that's not connecting. And so you really want to nail this really well so that people share your message. And then towards the end, what we do is we're all commit inside this group to when someone lands their talk and it goes, live on the TED.com, we all spread it. So think about this. You being one person trying to get more people to view your TED Talk, maybe your social media reach is like 5,000. But what if you had 100 people all sharing it to their networks? Now we're talking views. And so I've gotten people to have 45,000 views within a week of launching because they had a system behind them, and everybody wants them to promote theirs. So they're going to promote yours, right? And you get to know each other's stories. And here's the other beautiful part. Some people may like, oh my gosh, I'm applying over here in Belmont. And they're like, oh, hey, I can apply to that one too. So you're having applications right in front of you in this group. And if somebody gets it in Belmont, says, are you looking for more speakers? Because I know a whole group of people that would be great. It's a great opportunity because speakers get speakers gigs. And so all of that is wrapped in the 12 weeks working with me. You get my feedback on your talk, my feedback on your application, your video, all of the things. I have a 99% success rate on landing a TED Talk because I've been on the other side of the table. So that's why I set up that coaching program. It's a group coaching program, 12 weeks for $19.97. And I think I have a two-part payment plan as well. But it really is everything you need. And everything you're going to learn in it, you can use in all of your speaking across the board. So why don't you do it? Because it's going to actually amplify anytime you're on stage and selling your book and wanting to share that message so that you can get more people to actually read your book.
Whoa. This is one of the best programs, and not exaggerating one bit. This is one of the best programs I've ever heard about. I really love what you're doing, Erin. I'm in.
Hey.
You need to share a link.
Oh yeah.
So we've got some questions here. How many people are in the program?
Usually at the time, we probably do about 20 at a time because I want to make sure I really get my hands on everybody's information and really help them individually. And there are times where we'll have, there's an online course, and each week we meet and we are talking about, what did you struggle with? What do you need help with? Did you submit something? And if you do submit, what I do is I go through and I take your application, or let's just say your application transfer sheet. I take every single one and I give you notes. And then during the call, I even say, here's what I meant. So that in case that they didn't understand, like, what do you mean by this? I literally go through it so you understand why we do it the way we do and how that's going to affect all of your speaking. And so it's really important. You not only learn what to do and how to do it, but I tell you the psychology behind it and what the real pieces are that help. And so that's why it's so important to have a smaller group so we can do that. I think there's probably 60 to 100 people in the group right now, from this last go around. But think about that. That's 100 people that will help you, or 60 people. I can go under 60 people that will help you, share your message, which is awesome, and get more views.
Yeah. Where can we see the syllabus? What if we have to miss a session?
Yep.
And then what are your TED Talks that we can look up?
Yeah. Okay. That one's going to be a hard one because there's so many.
3 questions there.
I know. So yes, what I can do is if you put your email in, I can send you, I think if that link, I haven't even looked at that link in a while, but I think the link it might tell you, let me see. Let me just click on it myself.
Well, and what I can do too is anyone who attended today had to sign up. And so if for some reason you don't want information, you can send me that privately in the chat, and I won't include your email address. But if you do want information, I'll share your email address with Erin, and she can provide other information.
Yeah, I'll save chat too, I think. I don't know if I can do it over here.
I'll take care of that. Okay.
So Amy Ansell is one that she's the one that did single-use plastics using hemp. Let me think. I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. I have Mickey O'Brien. Somebody talked about your superpowers. She has one on superpowers. Hers about being neurodivergent. Why am I off the top of my head? Yeah, if you want to send me the email, I can also send stuff. I think if you go to, I think even on my website, I think I have some of these people as their, you can go to TEDx Bellevue College. You can look up all of those because all of those speakers I helped.
Oh, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, because then it goes to a YouTube page that just has those. Oops.
And if you want to share your website link in there too, or I can grab it.
It's just erinlomanjeck.com. Here's the page. There you go. I think Amy Ansell would be a great one. Patty Fleischman, she did the one on eradicating sex trafficking. Fleischman. Her +1 to the event was who I got to sit with was oh my gosh, why did I just forget his name? Who's was the CEO for Starbucks forever? I can't think of his name right now. Oh, Howard Schultz. So she she had her talk. I was super excited. We came and we sat there and I was like, oh, I didn't know who that was at first. So to be able to sit there next to him was amazing. And then a lot of people on the TEDx Seattle stage hire me separate. Oh, the other one you can look up. The great part was we did TEDx Tacoma, but it wasn't Tacoma because it was on the Fort Lewis McChord Air Force Base. And one of my clients, she just wrote a book on, her talk was about how she was in the Children of God cult. And she's now written a book about it and how she escaped that and left that only to go off and join the army and be one of the first women in battle in the army. And it was really awesome to have her. And the great thing was there was 3 people who hired me to help them with their talk because the organization didn't want to pay for it. And so when we got there, my new client, who's the senator in Washington State, she saw her friend performing and she saw the 3 people I worked with and was like, I need to hire you because my friend didn't do as good as a job as those ladies, those people, and I really want to do this. And so it's really fun to see the differences in someone who just goes, I want to do a TEDx and gets up there and gets the regular, organization TEDx speaker coach. But to really know what you're doing is so important. And I always say, like, my thing is for me is that this is forever for you. And I really hold that with a lot of honor because I know like you can't take it back. So I really want, that's why my heart's wish is that we work together so that you really do nail it and you're excited about it and you're excited to share it. And I even had a guy last year, and the reason I talk about how to expand it and market it, he was like, he had joined at the beginning because I go in and I coach all of their speaker coaches and their speakers. I do a big delivery, and some hire me and some don't. Well, at the end, he's like, I thought about you the entire time in my head, and I want to work with you. And so he's like, and I kept working with this coach, and it was really hard, and it didn't do what I wanted. But now how do I get it out to the mainstream? And he goes, I want to do another one. So now I'd rather hire you to help me do another one, because I wasn't as happy with that, but it's still a powerful message. And he was out of Jerusalem, and it was just amazing stuff. So that's the opportunity. And I just don't want people to take this milly-willy, because like, you could speak in front of a group of 50 people and screw it up, right? It's not a big deal. But screwing it up where it's on there forever, and people, anytime they Google your name, it comes up. I think it's important to have it really be awesome.
Oh, Erin, this is so good. And I can see, because I've thought about getting a speaking coach, and this is beyond what a speaking coach could do for me. I just think it's really remarkable. And I like that you've worked with so many people, and I just like everything I hear about this. So thank you very much for being here. We've got just a couple of minutes. If people have any other questions, I'll provide the website. Oh, she popped it in there again.
It's already copied, so it's easy.
But I'll also make sure that everybody who attended, because nobody said they didn't want the information, I'll share your emails with Erin. And again, tell me if you don't want that shared. And otherwise, she'll be able to send information directly to you. And Brad says, I know the senator you're talking about, so do I. But and the thing is, I consider her a pretty good speaker. So when she saw that there was room to even improve with Erin, I think that's a huge testimonial right there. So
program, and I learned
what if I start the program but learn that my topics really aren't appropriate for a TED Talk? Is there a refund?
Here's the thing. We will make it to be something you can land on that stage. And if not, we will still work on it as if it's a talk that you can land on any stage, because if it's something that's going to help you get your message out to the world, that's important to me. So it's not about refund, not refund. If your thing fits or doesn't fit, you're still going to learn everything you need to know about speaking and a topic and writing a speech and doing all the things and all the nonverbal and vocal tonality and all of that. It will lend to you being on any stage. So it's really amazing to be able to do that. So if it's on there, like, I'm going to help you make sure it's something that will land on that stage, because if that's your goal, that's what we're in for.
A comment here from Brad. He says, we are not seeing your chat messages. Make sure yours is tuned to everyone, and that we'll include that link and then the link to your website again. And I'll also make sure everyone gets that and gets a recording just for people who attended, unless they're people who are in my author camp.
Yeah, feel free to open it up to
everybody.
I'd love to have all of you guys join at the same time. I mean, that's beautiful, and it would be fun to all do together. I mean, definitely a bonding experience. So mine thing says panelist and host, but whatever. I'll try texting again.
Well, you're supposed to click it on everyone instead of
everyone. It's you or host and panelist.
No, it should be everyone.
There's not a link for that. When I drop it down, it's you or host and panelists.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's not working, but I'll make sure everyone has it.
Yeah.
And I'd encourage you to, to take action right away. Like Erin shared, the group is smaller. And so I know I want to make sure that I get in.
Yeah.
It says,
hold up a sign for my just look at my name at the bottom corner. It's erinlomanjeck.com. So it wouldn't be hard to find that there. But yeah, if you want to reshare that one link I just put in there so they can see the.
Apparently mine's not sharing either to
All right,
everyone.
we'll make sure I get you, I'll email you all the links and the things, and then you can make sure you send it out to everybody.
Let me try something here. No, I'm not able to copy the link either. But I will get it sent out to everyone, and I'll do that. I'm actually going to go see Avatar in a little bit, so I'm not doing it
Nice.
today. I love that movie when it came out, but I will have it out by tomorrow. And the other thing that I would really love for everybody to do is just send me a personal note and let me know that you're in, because I've said before, I'm not the best speaker in the world, so you'll get to see me improve and become excellent.
Yes, it'll be great.
Okay, so Barry says I'm in. Yay, Barry. And Brad says, say hi to the blue people. I will do that, Brad. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Great participation from everybody. That always makes it so much more fun. And Erin, thank you, thank you, thank you. Erin actually came in at almost the last minute. I've been trying to reach her, and there was a little bit of a mix-up. And so obviously she knows her stuff. She didn't have to say, no, I need a couple of weeks to prepare, which a lot of people do. So thank you so much. And valuable, valuable information. Even if somebody decides they can't do that right now, you truly gave us information that we could take away and begin. And then, maybe I'll have you back in another 6 months and we can pick up a few more people.
I love it. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.